Welcome to First Center for Spiritual Living in New York City. I want to say a special welcome to those of you signing in now on Zoom. And I can see many of your faces. We also have people on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook Live as well. So welcome to one and all. It would be great if some of you who are on the platforms send us a request in the chat. We'll link you up to our Zoom call. When you're on our Zoom call, you're able to listen after the actual lesson. Our people interact. You have a chance to meet people and ask questions, get questions answered. So we'd love to have you join us. Just send us the request. And if you're listening to this the days to come, as many of you will be, you can also send us a message, and we'll put you on our email list, and you'll receive the invitations. So, good morning, good morning. It's time for us to start. Today's talk is It's Your Thing. And I'm reminded of a song years ago by that title, It's Your Thing, do what you want to do. And so we're going to talk about, what is yours to do today? We're going to talk a little bit about finding that special thing. And so you can tap into whatever it is that brings you joy. Way back when I was a kid, there was a play where the main character always was heard saying, life is a banquet and most people are starving to death. And she might have used a little profanity in there too, as I recall. So think about that, life being a banquet. And when we come into our teaching, that's what you're essentially going to be hearing us say week after week, that life is a banquet, right? And it's all here for us, and life is responding to you and reflecting your consciousness. So that's what we teach here, and if you embrace our teaching, you learn to live this teaching, you get to be a participant and a co-creator in your own life process. Ernest Holmes was fond of saying, there's power for good in the universe greater than you, of which you are a part, and you can use it. Usually you just hear people saying, quoting him in a shortened version by saying there's power, and you can use this power. The power is in you. Okay, you have everything, you have it all within you, and yet it's one of the best kept secrets of the world. People don't understand that they live and move and they have their being in this power, and that this power responds to them. So our teaching, is always reminding you of how great you are, and we celebrate the fact that your life is all about possibilities and potential. There's a banquet to be experienced. If you want to live your life more fully, you can. In fact, the whole universe is conspiring, if you will, so you can live your life in a bigger way. It was Ralph Waldo Emerson who spoke of this divine conspiracy, and he said all of the dice of God are loaded. And what he's really getting at with that statement was, we keep on living our life, and, Spirit is always attempting to get our attention. And the universe is wooing us forward. And if we can slow down and take that pause that we talk about, the pause that refreshes, and be restored. Restored is maybe not the best word, but the idea is because you live and move in it. It's maybe the better word is to wake up and to realize, okay, I'm one with this one power. I am an heir to it, the kingdom. Everything that it has, I have. And I can draw upon it, so it's all there operating in me and through me, through my consciousness. So there's this banquet. There's infinite choices, endless choices. I loved the line when I was younger, when I heard about it that way. And life is a banquet. And I realized that most people, do not live it that way. Most people have an inner dialogue going on within themselves that shows up as a critic. They're critical of themselves. They're doing some version of "Ain't It Awful?" This is wrong, that's wrong, something's wrong with life, something's wrong with them. And they're coming from a perspective, a belief system that's been with them for a long time. They're coming from a place of what's missing and what's wrong. What's wrong with the world, what's wrong with themselves. And so you come into a teaching like this, and we teach you that you live, you move, you have your being in this source, this unified field of energy. You live in it, and it's responsive. This spirit, this source, is all intelligence, and it's all power. So we exist as intelligence and creativity and power, and we can draw from it. It's always there. You may not think it's there, but it is responding to you 24 hours a day. Life can be, if you connect with this, if you wake out of the idea that you're less and lowly and wrong and all this other stuff, if you can entertain the idea that I am one with the one and that I have power available to me, then life gets very, very interesting. Life becomes an incredible adventure. It can be a thrilling experience, a banquet. It can be exciting in every way, because it doesn't matter what your day has been yesterday. It doesn't matter what you've lost. It doesn't matter who you've lost. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Whatever has happened to you up to now, painful as it might have been, has all been there as a stepping stone to bring you into a place where you are now. So let us think of life as being a banquet, a thrilling adventure, an exciting adventure, and something that we can get excited about. Now, you have the ability to make that decision. So if you're coming into a class like that, we're going to encourage you every week to use that ability that you have. Raymond Charles Barker wrote a book entitled The Power of Decision. So I'd like to ask you all today to consider taking on that affirmation that my life is great. My life is exciting. I'm going to decide to be happy today. I'm going to decide to be prosperous. I'm going to decide to trust life. I'm going to decide that all of life is operating for me. So Barker would say, you can make the decision to be a today person. That was his expression. A today person is not concerned about yesterday. A today person is not concerned with what his or her brother did, her loved ones did, the girlfriend did, the boyfriend did. They're not going to be concerned about what people say or what people are saying. A person who's living in the moment, who's living in today, understands that they have the ability to create life, that they are the author of their own experience. We joke, we say, you are Shakespeare. You're writing the script. You may be not a child anymore. But, that final chapter has not been written. And, you get the ability to decide how this day is going to go. You have the ability to decide how this afternoon is going to be, and tomorrow, and every other day. So how do you stay in that place where you know that you are cause to your own experience? Well, it requires you centering yourself, right? There's lots of ways to do it. You wake up each morning and maybe you draw in some breath and say thank you, universe, and thank you, life, and whatever you can do to consciously bring yourself into that place where I am connected with all good. We connect with it. Meditation, creative writing, journaling, prayer partnering, there's lots of ways. But the thing is, what we do here every Sunday and every Thursday is we take that time to come to a place where there's a community that will cause you to remember the truth of who you are. And then we're going to encourage you to practice. I'll call it God awareness. Practice knowing that all is well, as Louise Hay would always say. It's so easy to go the other way, right? The cup is half empty. Or it's so easy to talk about what's wrong and what's missing. But that's the exact opposite way that Ernest Holmes taught us. Ernest Holmes spoke of living the affirmative life and trying to get the bondage of self out of the way. The bondage of self is something that a lot of us carry stuff around. Ancient hurts, grievances, resentments, the need to be right. We're living in a past, business situation. Somebody did me wrong. It could be personal. It could be whatever it is. But it's you holding on to something against someone or something or some set of circumstances. And you're stuck. You're not really stuck in God ultimately, because nothing and no one is ultimately stuck. But boy, it's painful when you're in those places in consciousness where it seems like everything's against you. And it seems like life is unfair. So, what we've created then is we've created what we'll say fairness issues. And I've learned it over the hard way. If I keep on living my life as though something and someone is against me and what isn't fair and what's, if I'm coming from a place of who's done me wrong and what's happened to me and all of that, I'm living my life in a place that's not very empowered. I'm living my life in somewhat of a victim role. I'm reminded of another great book I used to read a lot when I was a different time in my life. And there was a phrase that I loved which helped me, which was this: I am not a victim of the world I see. It's a powerful statement. I am not a victim of the world I see. It's a good thing to maybe have in your arsenal of affirmations and spiritual tools, because absolutely nothing happens to us by mistake. We draw all things to us. The things that we draw to us are not happening to us. Nothing's out to get us. The universe isn't out to get us. The things that are coming to us are always healing opportunities if you understand things from a metaphysical point of view. The things that are coming to us, I'm repeating, are always opportunities for us if you have the metaphysical approach to your life. You'll know that things come to you at the perfect time and place, and they wouldn't happen in your life if you weren't ready to deal with them. I long ago recall, it was 1990, and one of my close friends was dying, and it was a really tough time and very painful to experience and to watch. And I had been involved in metaphysics for a number of years, and this was 1990, and I was speaking to a minister friend, and I remember him saying, "You're in the big leagues now, Greg." He said, "But I want you to know, as much as anybody I know," he says, you have what it takes to walk through this circumstance. You know that you're supplied and supported, and you know that all is well." And looking back on it now, I can feel complimented a little bit. But at the time, I needed to hear that person say that to me. You know that you're supplied and supported, and you know all is well. I didn't get a pass on going through a tough situation. And sometimes, in life, we go through difficult things. We don't get a pass. It means we can't manipulate life in that way. But if we have the consciousness of knowing that all is well, and that we live and move and have our being in this divine substance, you're going to know right through it that you're blessed in the sense you have self-knowledge, and you are, as you're dealing with tough things and you're providing service to other people and love and extending yourself, you know that you're a part of something that's divine and holy. I know in this center right now there's a couple people that I'm very fond of that are taking care of family members day and night. And I know some other people that are really extending themselves in big ways to people. And their life right now might be very difficult in a lot of ways, but they know what they're doing, and they're extending love, and they see love in the people in their lives, and they're extending the best that they have. The thing about this whole life experience that I've learned through Science of Mind is you learn eventually that you're here to be a lifter. And, I don't know how to explain that other than we're here to have this type of supportive, loving consciousness wherever we can. It's all too easy to go to what I'll call the dark side. It's all too easy to go to be the critic. Anybody and everybody can talk about what's wrong All you have to do is turn on the news and you'll hear everything that's wrong. You'll rarely hear about what's good and wonderful. It doesn't sell very well. It's an extraordinary person who really practices our teaching. Extraordinary meaning it doesn't happen with most. The masses do it the exact opposite way. It's like there's a major competition. They want more of everything. More love, more money, more this, more of everything, and nothing's enough. And there's an underlying belief that it's based on fear that there's not enough for me, there's not enough for other people, I'm losing the game of life, it's too late, and they're drawn into a comparison that they have with others, and it's a bit of a trap. And it's based upon fear. When we're really living in connection with Source, and we can somehow deeply get to that place that I am as God created me. There's another slogan from another book. I am as God created me in the light, in the love, and in the glory. If you can come to that place where you can realize who you are, if you can realize and say, okay, I am Source, I am one with the one, and my way is, established in the mind of God. I'm an individualization of this spirit. And as I walk through life, all things are given to me. The doors are opened. That comes from a consciousness of unity, a consciousness of knowing I'm supplied and supported. And the doors literally open for you before you even speak aloud what you need. Some of you are longing for a deeper experience in life. Something more meaningful, and it's right for you to want it, because if you're being bombarded by what you see on TV and in the commercials, or this is New York City, Madison Avenue, everything is external. The whole suggestion is you need to be like this, look like this, have this, and all of that. And you find your life being made very busy with trivial pursuits, things that don't really fulfill you. Many of you are longing for a deeper experience, and definitely when you come into this teaching, you will have one if you stay with it. So we're looking for a deeper connection. We'll call it God realization, self-realization, a way to contribute and share our gifts. Some people feel like they've wasted a lot of their time. They've chased a lot of things that don't matter. And I'm here to tell you, no one's really wasted any time. Everybody is where they are. As I've been taught over the years, wherever you are there by right of consciousness. And everything that you've done up until now, including all the mistakes, made you the person you are now, and has contributed to you becoming the strong and vital person that you are right now. So we get to places in our lives sometimes where I call them turning points, where we get to make these great movements. We have a shift in consciousness. I'm not saying necessarily that you got to come to a point of crisis to have a shift in consciousness, but oftentimes people they go through tough times. That's when they reach out. So it doesn't have to be a big event that will cause you to do some deep thinking and reaching out. But definitely something has to happen within all of us for change to happen, right? I presume most of us are wanting to level up and to live a more connected, more expansive life, and to use the power that we possess. The one thing I'm going to say for all of us is it does require a desire, right? And the stronger the desire, the better. So born out of an idea, it could be I'm mad as hell and I deserve better, or it might be simply a desire for something more. I'm always moved by that poem that you hear us say sometimes. She let go. No one had to talk to her about it, do anything. That one day she made a decision. Well, for any of us, if you get to a point where you get clear and you make a decision, I deserve better and I want better, it won't matter again if you're 28 or you're 88. You know, things will start to shift because life does respond to us. I can recall in 1980, I went into a 12-step program where nothing seemed to be working very, very well in my life. And I remember people telling me everything is perfect. And I remember people telling me everything is okay. And clearly I didn't feel everything was perfect, nor did I think everything was okay. And then I would hear that Louise Hay line, which I don't even think she wrote it yet. Everything's okay, all is well. Well, the fact of the matter is, those are metaphysical truths. We're always in the perfect place at the perfect time. All is well, and everything is okay. But I needed to have a shift in consciousness, which I didn't yet have. I certainly acquired that shift in consciousness not too long after that. When we come into metaphysics, we're never here to compare ourselves with anyone else. Everybody is here working on ourselves. If Agatha's on the call, I always give her credit because every time I speak to her, she's one of our practitioners. She will always say she's working on her. And if you're working it right, if you are in this study, your work is to be working on yourself. That is the work. I remember being involved in a very wonderful therapeutic spiritual group in Florida with a very gifted facilitator. And she languaged it a little bit differently, but it was beautiful work, and she was helping a lot of people. She would ask, "Are you coming from connection?" She'd ask that every single week. And I knew exactly eventually what she was talking about. Are you coming from a place of connection and love, where you're seeing, everybody, you're creating people to be, wonderful, each of them, namaste, namaste. I'm seeing the good, the God in everybody, if I'm in connection. If I'm in some broken state, or some place where I'm injured, or, where I'm just, missing the mark, I'm going to start talking about what he's doing and she's doing and they're doing and doing to me and what's wrong. And my whole line of language will be what's missing, what's wrong, and what's wrong with them and everything else. That would not be a metaphysical approach. That would not be what Ernest Holmes was talking about. Ernest Holmes encouraged us to learn to live the affirmative life. Okay, so that means we're going to hitch our wagons to the stars. That means we're going to be preoccupied with seeing the good in people. And even when things look messy, we know that good is here. We know the kingdom of good is here. We know the kingdom of God is here. We know all is well. That's what metaphysicians do. That's what a mystic will do. When nothing looks right, they're going to see and know. They're going to know the truth of this situation and every situation, because they're grounded and rooted in the reality that we live, move, and have our being in divine substance. And they're going to know that this substance responds to us according to, our belief. So we look at other people sometimes. I know I have, and I think, my God, they've got it. They've got this great gift, this spiritual discernment. I used to think of these people, these spiritual gurus, and they simply had better what I know now. And, and I really never ought to be comparing myself, nor I hope nobody else here is comparing anybody to anybody. This practice is not that difficult. It just requires practice. We keep practicing. We keep reorienting ourselves to the good. We keep stepping out of the story, because we know, you've heard before, I'll make it very simplistic. God doesn't make junk. So, okay, what does that mean? It means that everybody you see is a divine being, myself included. You would say yourself included. We're all in it together. We're all one with the one. Each of us are individualizations of this one life. I haven't always operated like I was the smartest person in the world. I've done lots of things, made a lot of mistakes. And here's the thing. So has everybody else. And when you come into a teaching like this, you're wanting to express your life in a bigger way. You're wanting to wake up and realize, okay, I've got power. I've frittered away a lot of years doing a lot of things, and I now realize I want to be about my Father's business. That was a message that, goes back to the time of the New Testament with Jesus. There came a time where he really wanted to be about embracing the bigger part of himself. And I would think that would be true for many people here. I don't really want to be listening to all the stuff that might have amused me at a certain time in my life. Bill Tolliver, who was one of my great teachers, always said to his ministerial students, you have the ability to live and commune with some of the greatest minds that have ever lived. You have the ability to entertain great thoughts. And you have the ability to lift your consciousness up. And as you do, all the places you go and all the things you'll experience and the life you'll create just by, shifting your focus. Our minds go round and round and round with information. It's like a perpetual loop. And we have a lot of programming. You've heard me talk a lot about the 4 agreements. And in the 4 agreements, Don Miguel is always talking about the agreements that we've had since we're children. It's the old rules. It's the things that we did with our families and family systems. And many of us are now in our 50s, 60s, 70s, and older. And we're still judging ourselves with the same set of rules. So as you get into religious science, as you become a metaphysical student, you'll learn phrases like be here now. And try to throw away all the stuff that you think you know about people, places, and things. And attempt to see people, to be in a new moment with yourself. A new moment with yourself where you're going to drop all your sense of guilt and shame. A new moment yourself where you can love yourself enough to say, okay, look, I love you. You've made a lot of mistakes while you're learning. And be in a new moment to the point where maybe I could be in a new moment with the people I know. And drop the history, that word, his story. Because we carry the stories. And if you're carrying the stories, you can't have new moments. I'll say that again. If you're carrying the story with you about people, places, or things, then you've already decided. You really can't say you're much of a new thought practitioner, because if you're preventing yourself from having a new thought. One of the most interesting ideas of a book, if I ever get around to it, would be about creating a new moment. New moments are incredibly powerful if you can have one. Because in a new moment, you're in it and you're free. And you're giving yourself a pass. You're giving the other person a pass. It's hard to have new moments, but that's one of the things we want to do, because all the power, everything that you want is right here, right now. You have power available to you, so you can in this new moment see life as beautiful. You in this new moment can see your partner as beautiful, and your employer and life and the world is beautiful. In this new moment, you can create a world that works for everyone. All that power resides one place and one place only. That's in you, operating through you. So I hope I've reminded everybody, look, the power that you have is unlimited, and creative intelligence and spirit is guiding your way. The dice of God are loaded in the sense that no matter how many times you might make a mistake, you have this thing, it's a conscience and it's a sense of intuition. There is that which is within you that guides you always forward. And you don't need to be minding everyone else's business, because as much as you have guidance operating within you, all the rest of us have it in us too. We do our work in consciousness in this teaching. We do our work in mind. As we spend some time with the most important person in our world, which is ourselves, as we learn to live the affirmative life and realize that nothing and no one is against us, and we put our focus and our attention properly on ourselves, and we realize, oh my goodness, I'm creating my life. And I get to create it as a great banquet. full of exciting possibilities. And I get to discover who I've come here to be and what contributions I can make that will bring me joy and that will enrich the world that I live in. We're doing important work individually and at the center, and we're not going down. So join with us today and every day on this exciting journey of uncovering the good and learning to express the good in new and ever expanding ways. And so ends this morning's lesson, and we'll see you in a minute, the other side of the break, and I'd love to hear your good news. Thank you.